Hello, I'm Miranda Kahn.
And I'm John Bachman. Coming up here on Newsmax Now, President Obama's drone warfare under the microscope today after the accidental deaths of 2 hostages. Will his apology be enough?
Also, major terror raids in Italy and new information about one plot to bomb the Vatican. Dr. Robert Rabil joins us for an in-depth look about what these plots tell us and about the spread of radical Islam.
And Dr. Oz not backing down his response to critics, and can his show really survive?
It's noon Eastern time, but no matter where you are, it's time for Newsmax Now. Hello, welcome. Today is Friday, April 24th.
All right, it's good to have everybody with us. It's finally Friday, so Miranda, let's go ahead and get started. We begin with the fallout today after those 2 hostages, including 1 American, died during that drone strike on the Afghan-Pakistan border. American Warren Weinstein and Italian Giovanni Laporto were killed in that attack back in January, but it was made public yesterday. And now, according to Politico, we are learning that the president had wanted to transfer control over drone strikes to the Defense Department 2 years ago, but Dianne Feinstein, then the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, raised concerns about that. Now experts say the policy may have to change. The president has apologized for these deaths, accepting all responsibility.
Hillary Clinton's team goes on the offensive. This after multiple stories surface about the Clinton Foundation. The New York Times says a Russian company donated millions to the foundation while negotiating a uranium deal pending State Department approval. Hillary was serving as Secretary of State at the time, but the Clinton camp says she was not personally involved in the decision. They also refer to an upcoming book titled Clinton Cash as nothing more than a smear project. Former GOP presidential candidate Steve Forbes, talking to Newsmax TV, says Hillary in the White House would just be 4 more years of Obama.
I think she truly believes what the current incumbent President Obama believes, very left-wing. I don't think she has those centrist tendencies of her husband.
He also took issue with Clinton, saying that strengthening the middle class requires toppling the 1%.
Well, Armenians around the world are marking 100 years since the genocide of ethnic Armenians at the hands of Ottoman Turks. In the capital of Yerevan, flowers have been laid at, at the country's memorial. It's been believed that 1.5 million people died, yet President Obama refuses to call it genocide. That's a mistake, according to Florida Senator, also the former Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman, Bob Grant.
I don't think the way America defines its values is by words. I think it is by actions. I personally think that what happened in Turkey in 1915 deserves the label of genocide.
Well, Graham says the president won't call it genocide because he doesn't want to risk offending Turkey, a perceived ally in the fight against ISIS.
18 people are under arrest right now in Italy for plotting an attack against the Vatican. The same Islamic extremists are suspected of carrying out an attack at a Pakistani market that left 100 people dead. Italian prosecutors say wiretaps show the suspects have been plotting a suicide bomb mission against the Vatican for 5 years. They even had the bomber in Italy.
And in Milan, a master's work has been hidden for hundreds of years, but it's going to be uncovered very soon. Maybe a little bit already has been. Bit by bit, experts are restoring paintings by Leonardo da Vinci in the walls of the Sforza Castle. One line drawing of its buildings and hills is almost identical to the background that he used in the Last Supper painting. They've been peeling back these whitewash items that have been hiding the work, and they hope to have it done in time for an expo that starts next month. All right, we welcome in J.D. Hayworth from America's Forum and soon to be Newsmax Prime. We're all looking forward to that next Tuesday.
Pretty excited about that Tuesday. Make note, it'll premiere at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 o'clock out west, and then a repeat at 11 o'clock Eastern, which will be, of course, prime time in the Pacific time zone, 8 p.m.
All right, we know you're big out there in the Pacific time zone.
Well, got a few constituents in Arizona
right.
and some friends out in California and the western states we want to have watch.
Friends everywhere.
Oh, we want to give folks a preview of what they can expect on your show here in this portion of our show. And we want to talk a little bit about Hillary Clinton. Of course, these rumors are swirling. There's the perception of impropriety with the money she has received. But one thing that she has wanted to talk about, as well as Democrats as well, is this item of income inequality. Let's start with what the president had to say about that.
I've been talking about things like reversing rising inequality and strengthening social mobility since before it was cool.
Well, we don't know if that's the case or not, but we're also hearing reports about the compensation that Hillary Clinton received while she was out there as a private citizen. Do you think it's going to be very difficult for her to defend attacks from her own party about this issue?
Well, it seems now that there are a whole lot of folks on the left who weren't exactly enamored with Hillary to begin with, and they're starting to get agitated now in Hollywood. Former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley just went out there for a fundraiser.
Folk singer.
So people are, that's right. So people are getting ready. I think the lesson that's going to be tough for Hillary to learn is that she is not her husband. Her husband could do this empathetic kind of thing and seem to blend in with everybody. Hillary is a bit different with that, but apparently she believes this isn't anything that money cannot cure. If they can raise $2 billion, she believes she will drive a message, and the reporters and some in the Democratic Party questioning her now cannot overcome that kind of money. But it's not in the coffers yet, and the scrutiny continues.
It does. The Washington Post on Hillary Clinton and income inequality. Here's what the Post said. The income inequality gap that Clinton needs to address is between herself and her audience. She spent much of the last 2 years building up her income. She'll spend much of the next 2, it seems, downplaying it. And we've heard her say this before, where she said we were basically broke, and then we hear about all the money that they're making during their speeches.
Yeah, and speaking of that money, let me tell you what. $300,000 a speech. Now, for somebody to come out and attack CEOs in the 1%, when you're busy putting yourself in the 1%, that creates not a credibility gap, that's a credibility canyon. But again, Mrs. Clinton believes that more money is going to solve that problem, and she'll be able to redefine herself.
Well, JD, one more topic I want to discuss with you here right now, and that is one issue that could dog Jeb Bush later on down the road, and it's not his name. It's Common Core. 90% of insiders say that his support for the standards hurt his presidential prospects. Do you think a lot of candidates, especially Jeb Bush, may have underestimated what this issue would mean on the campaign trail in 2016?
I think it is key for Jeb Bush, if he wants to get out from under this, to redefine it. And I would not be surprised to see a lot of push polling in Iowa where they take poll-tested phrases in terms of holding students accountable, holding teachers accountable. And if I hear this phrase, well, I guess politically we can't call it plagiarism anymore, but what I would expect Governor Bush to go out and say is, wait a minute, forget about Common Core. What is common sense in dealing with education? The problem is if he steps up and tries to defend it, as one Iowa insider said, that's a bit like a pastor of a church coming in to say, hey, tonight for Bible study, our special guest is Satan. It's going to be pretty tough to kind of, that's what a Iowa insider said. Yeah. I'm quoting from that same article, or words to that effect.
All right. JD, thanks so much for joining us. Always good to have you.
Always happy to be here, not trying to cast theological stones, but trying to give practical advice. And what people try to do is to redefine these terms. He'll try to redefine Common Core as common sense, and he's going to stick to his guns on amnesty, even though he insists.
And again, one more day of America's Forum, and then Tuesday, the debut of Newsmax Prime.
Provided my comments quoting Iowa insiders don't dispense me to the sidelines. Tuesday, April 28th, 8 p.m.
Got it.
Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and then again a repeat at 11 Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Tuesday, April 28th. Be here.
All right. But coming up right here on Newsmax Now, has President Obama gone too far with his drone policies? Our roundtable weighs in. And later, turns out even billionaires have super PACs. We break it down in Money Bombs and War Chest. It sounds like the subject of a science fiction novel, like Frankenstein, the surgeon who vows to perform the first head transplant, why he's doing it, and when. You're watching Newsmax Now. Stay tuned.